So, I'm a prime example that Denttach lasts way longer than 7 days. I was just in the hospital for a couple weeks, really sick, and it held up perfectly fine. So let's do an application. So, I've let my Denttach sit in my cup of hot water for 5 minutes. Usually I do like 5 or 6 minutes just to be sure. And then I deep clean my denture and make sure there's no water. Bone dry. Bone dry. Bone dry. You have to make sure this is dry. Your hands are dry. Everything's dry. So, I use a lot, since this is my temporary, most of you guys know. A woman had asked me, this is a sticky, awful mess. It is if you don't, I don't want to say mix it right, because you're not mixing it, but if you don't play with it right. I have kids and they have slime, so I know how to like mess with slime, and this kind of like slime. But, like, it sticks to me too if I, just hold it and push it down on my denture and don't move my finger. It gets sticky, so it's a learning process, but it is worth it. Absolutely worth it. Let's see if I can fix this so you can see the application, because I don't want the woman to give up trying Denttach, because Denttach is very much worth it. So, let's move that back so you can watch me. So, I just took it out of the tube, okay? It's not sticky because when it sticks to my fingers, you roll. You roll. If you have any kind of moisture on your hands, or a denture, or your tube of Denttach, it will stick. You're just gonna have to get around the learning curve. Now, I take a little snake and put it in my denture. I like to push down with my finger, because then I know it's being pushed down pretty firmly. It doesn't stick to your mouth. If you over apply it, it sticks a little bit to the roof of your mouth, but it doesn't affect the application at all whatsoever. And I like the smell. Some people don't like the smell, but I use quite a lot for my denture because it's temporary, doesn't fit whatsoever. My friend recently started using Denttach, and she hadn't worn her dentures for 4 years. Denttach made it possible. So, you saw how much I had. I had about, let's see here, I had about that much left. And I have, no, a little bit more. Like, that much. That much. And I used quite a bit. See, it's sticking to my fingers a little bit. You just start rolling. You make sure that you have no moisture on your hands. I always put my Denttach almost as deep as my denture is, because I rely on Denttach to give me comfort, to be able to wear it, to be able to eat what I want. I can't eat everything I want because my bottom teeth aren't the greatest shape, but that's not Denttach's fault. Denttach makes it to where I can wear my temporary denture 2 years later. And no, it's a financial issue that I'm working with. So, I don't put it all the way back here, because I put so much in the front. If you can see, it's filled that little gap. I don't know how to, there we go. You see how it's like all the way up? I fill in my whole entire gum part. See how it's darker shade? I fill in that whole entire gap because it doesn't fit, like I said, and when I push it in and I wear it for a while before I take it out and trim it, it all comes back, because I don't know why, but when you have a denture, you suck a lot, so it moves your Denttach back. So to answer the woman's question, is it always sticky? It's always going to be a little bit sticky, but it's not. Roll it, play with it, it's going to be a learning curve, but you'll be okay, I promise. Don't give up on Denttach yet. And then, the other thing is, if you want to run it under cold water before you put it in your mouth, you can. I just never do. I always wet my palate, wet my mouth before I put it in, to where my mouth isn't like, whoa. But besides that, you said that you're afraid you're gonna apply too much. Coming from the girl that uses a half of a tube of Denttach, you're not using too much. And if you are using too much, you'll know. It'll come over all the edges. And what pictures you sent me, it's not too much. So, as you can see, I put it there. It will fill in. I'll post a video of an updated cured Denttach on my denture later on or tomorrow, and you'll see that it migrates all throughout my denture. So let's put it in. Get some water. And I always get the front of it. I like to, because it makes my lip wet, but I always get this wet. So it always sticks to my top lip. So let's do it. Like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, water. My application's in. And those puppies ain't going nowhere. But, like, I was skeptical a year ago or so at Denttach, and I was like, it is not as great as they say it is, because nothing's as good as it seems, you know? I'm telling you, Denttach is. If it wasn't for Denttach, I would be toothless. And I'm relatively young with kids. This is how much you get. And I'm telling you, if you have an ill-fitting denture, put a little bit of this in, much more worth it. You won't be in pain 24/7. Denttach has no curing, I mean, it has curing time, but you can drink right after. You can eat right after. Cushion grip, I used before Denttach. You can't eat or drink 4 to 6 hours after, which is a big deal to me. So, I'm thirsty. It's not going to affect the application at all whatsoever. Hot coffee. You can drink hot coffee right after. Here we go. Denttach journey. See you later, guys.